Vicki Noratuk was born prematurely in the early 1950s and placed in an airlock incubator. Since that time, she hasn't been able to see. Vicki said, "I've never seen anything. No light, no shadows, no nothing. A lot of people ask me if I see black. No, I don't see black. I don't see anything at all. And in my dreams, I don't see any visual impressions. It's just taste, touch, sound, and smell, but no visual impressions of anything." On February 2nd, 1973, she was working as a singer and pianist at a restaurant. It was 2 a.m. The place was closed. She wanted to get home, but she didn't want to accept a ride with a drunk couple. Her boss didn't want to offend future customers, so he wouldn't let Vicki back in his office to call a cab. Vicki was forced to ride with them in their VW bus. As they drove along, the driver mentioned that he was seeing double. The VW swerved and spun out of control. The driver's wife screamed that they were crashing. Then everything became very, very slow. Vicki was thrown from the vehicle and lost consciousness. That's when she felt herself leave her body through her mouth. Time slowed down even more. The next thing she recalled was being in the ER and looking down at everything that was happening. Her first awareness in the emergency room was of being up near the ceiling. She could see for the first time in her life. In fact, she was in a state of awe from being able to see. She said it was like a foreign language. Then she was drawn up through the ceiling and out of the hospital through space. She saw lights. Everything felt so free. In the distance was the sound of wind chimes. After that, she was sucked into a dark tunnel. As with most near-death experiences, she heard a whooshing sound. The tunnel was comfortable, though. A few times she looked out of what she called vents or windows on the side of the tunnel. She saw other beings there. As she got to the end of the tunnel, she was surrounded by light. She even heard people singing. They were harmonizing hymns, not the church hymns of Jesus dying. These were songs of praise. Once she left the tunnel, she felt herself rolling onto grass amongst trees. There were thousands of people singing, laughing, and talking. Some played stringed instruments. Flowers of different varieties were there. Both the flowers and the birds she observed had light around them. This could be what's known as an aura. Vicki said that in a place where time had no meaning, she knew all things in their entirety. It was the place where she could find the answers to all her questions about life, about the universe, about God, and everything else. Vicki said, "Suddenly I understood math and science. I understood calculus. Languages became unimportant. I knew them. Even without asking questions, answers were imparted about things I'd always wondered about." She also saw 5 people she knew in life: 2 blind childhood schoolmates, Debbie and Diane, who died young, caregivers Mr. and Mrs. Zilk, the babysitters and neighbors, and her grandmother. As her 2 friends approached, Jesus filled her vision and held out his right hand. He came between Vicki and her friends. This was to prevent her from passing a point of no return. She said Jesus had a kind face with a beard and long hair. His eyes were piercing yet tender. His gown had a sash around the waist, but the light he emitted outweighed how he looked and what he wore. The light came out of his body, and it appeared that he was made of light. She said, "He could see everything about me, clear beyond everything, even more than I could see or know. It was kind of scary being so totally known, exposed, and yet accepted and loved." He told her that she couldn't stay because it wasn't her time yet. She had to go back. That's when he gave her a life review. She saw her whole life, from birth to the current moment. She became aware of thoughts and feelings of herself and of others in every incident of her life. Then he asked, "What have you learned from your life?" This is a question that's common in many near-death experiences. She told him that she thought it was important to be honest. He said, "You have to learn and teach more about loving and forgiving. Whether people deserve it or not is not the point. You shouldn't try to select those who you think should be forgiven, and those who shouldn't." And then she was sent back into a body that was filled with pain. Dr. Van Lommel, a Dutch physician and researcher with a specialty in cardiology, comments on Vicki's case, paraphrased from the book Consciousness Beyond Life. The fact that somebody who has been blind from birth can see people and surroundings raises significant questions. How is it possible that this woman can see, from a position outside and above the body, at a moment when she is in a coma caused by brain damage sustained by a serious traffic accident? She has never been able to see. How can she be aware of her perceptions during a coma? This is impossible according to current medical knowledge. Have you ever asked why we're here? Maybe we're tourists, students, or actors who stepped onto this stage for a limited run? The struggles feel real because we agreed to full immersion, no memory of the contract until curtain call. But when the play ends, we step backstage, laugh about the tough scenes, hug the cast, and remember we're eternal beings who just played human for a while.